So full stroke front crawl, just to start as a little warm up if you haven't done much yet so far. And our first sort of non-front crawl activity is going to be some very simple backstroke. And I would suggest just ditch your cords, stand upright, and then just keep the hands at 180, keep the head nice and still. If you can add that catch position in by pivoting at the elbow, okay, that's going to be sort of our exercise number one when we jump out of our full stroke on the cords. Then we're going to do a little sort of catch routine, and you can do this just with or without a band. I'll demonstrate it first without. We're just going to bring the thumbs together, okay? Maybe some light weights will help, or I'm going to use a resistance band, okay? But you can try it without, and then keep the thumbs together, and we're just going to pop the elbows out to bring the palms, the forearms to horizontal, okay? That's our sort of mid exercise. And then the last exercise will be, sort of, I jokingly refer to it as wax on, wax off, but I don't quite have enough room here. But if you just imagine sort of making a circle with the hand, we're going to do both of them. I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to try to keep the hands, the arms between two panes of glass as I make my circles, okay? But we'll come to that and I'll demonstrate them. If we're good, if we're ready, we've got 4 minutes, please. 4 minutes of full stroke front crawl on your long cords. Build into it. Start this, use this as an additional part of the warm-up. Run a little front crawl, diagnostic through the stroke. Start to think about your technique. Let's ingrain good habits. Don't get lazy. Don't allow things to start off in a bad way. Welcome, Natalia just joined in. Okay, you haven't missed much. We've literally just started 4 minutes of easy full stroke front crawl just as a warm-up. And then we're going to jump in and out. That's a couple of different exercises, okay? So stretch the stroke through, get the upper body involved. If you've got the vertical cords, fantastic. You can add in some hip movement. If you're in a horizontal position, just be aware that you might, if possible, just think about your full body position. If you can wiggle your hips a little bit, fantastic. I know it's not the easiest, okay? 3 more minutes, please, 3 more minutes. So, head nice and still. Let's not worry about turning to breathe just yet while we use this to get the hand pathways under the body working well. Exposing all of that surface area of the forearm as early as possible. If you've got sort of these grips, you can try maybe to open the palm a little bit. It would be a step closer towards your full stroke front crawl. If it's just bouncing around a little bit, don't worry. If you've got paddles, fantastic. Obviously, the closer we can get to imagining our full stroke front crawl, the better this will work. Coming up on halfway, everyone, halfway. So the blocks are going to revolve around sort of 5 minutes in total. So the first block, as we're doing right now, is 4 minutes, and then we've got a 1 minute of backstroke. I do enjoy reversing all of these front crawl movements. We do swim a lot of full stroke front crawl as triathletes, as long distance swimmers in open water. Anything we can do to unwind, to open out the shoulders is going to be very healthy for us. So we're going to get our 4 minutes done, then we're going to go into our 1 minute of backstroke, okay? The middle block is slightly different, and then the third block, they all add up more or less to 5 minutes. They all add up to 5 minutes. We're going to have a little recovery. We're going to go through that twice, be about 30, 32 minutes, and we'll be all done. So, just over a minute to go, By now, you should have an idea of how you're feeling, whether you're going to have a good, strong session, whether you need to warm up a little bit longer, maybe you want to take a step back, put a little bit more tension in, maybe you've overestimated and you need to come a step forwards. It's up to you, that's up to you. We are not trying to pull banisters and walls down. This is just some good memory for the muscles to remember what it's like to execute those swimming positions, so that when we do finally get back in the water, it will not be quite as clumsy, mechanical, rusty as it might have been if you've just sat on the bike or been running this past 5, 6 weeks, whoever, however long it might be, who knows. Okay, last 20 seconds before we roll into a minute of backstroke, a minute of backstroke. I've got some very light dumbbells, okay? I don't think the cords work as well unless you've got a really sort of fluid pair. I think a light pair of dumbbells or tins of beans would be good. And that weight in the hand just gives you that connection to the water, that little bit of weight as if you were holding on, setting a good catch position. And 3, 2, 1, we're into our backstroke. We're into our backstroke. Hands must be at 180. Hands must be at 180 degrees to each other for backstroke. As the upper arm brushes past the ear, there is an elbow pivot. The body position is very similar to full stroke front crawl. It's why the two work together so nicely. We're switching the shoulders from side to side, keeping the head nice and still. Good work, everyone. Last 20 seconds before we launch into just 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Quick transitions in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, switch it forwards for full stroke front crawl, please. Full stroke front crawl, 2 minutes. If we can move a step back, if you can climb down a stair, put a little bit more tension on, but that's entirely up to you and how your arms are feeling. 2 minutes, please, so that's 2 minutes. Keep the head nice and still. Unless you're turning to breathe or sighting, full stroke front crawl wants a nice still head position. And this is a great exercise to promote that. 30 seconds down, minute and a half to go, minute and a half to go. Reach for the knees, don't exit early above the hips. Keep the hands pulling central under the body. The elbow goes wide, that's fine. The earlier that elbow pops out, the more of the surface area of the forearm can get involved. Open your hands a little bit if it's not too bouncy and you're losing traction and grip. Fingertips to elbow is the pulling surface, and you're trying to expose that as early as possible to push as much water down towards the feet as possible. I'm bringing the shoulders up towards the chin just to maximize my streamline, getting the upper body rotated as well. Keep it going, keep it going. Don't let the heart rate creep up too high. We're just going through the swimming movements tonight. Working on a little bit of strength stuff, isolating some of the movements of the stroke, and also strengthening the shoulders in a couple of other movements as well. Last 20 seconds, last 20 seconds. So we've just got 30 seconds of this next exercise, okay? This 30 seconds, and then we're gonna sort of do 2 rounds of that to make up our 5, okay? So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Ditch the cords. It's the thumb catch drill. So thumbs together, pop the elbows out. If you've got light weights, if you've got a band, it can all help. And it's just accentuating with both hands that first part of the stroke, okay? It's a very simple drill, very nice, very elegant. The way it shapes the front of the stroke from the side. We're trying to create that vertical forearm by the time it gets in line with the eyes. Okay, the bands would make this a little bit more effective, okay? And I've got a little bit of tension as I lift up and I lift down. Tension up and tension down, but don't worry if you're not set up for this position. Fantastic. 3, 2, 1, back on the cords, back on the cords. Full stroke front crawl, here we go, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And as always, we've just isolated a part of the stroke, so we want to exaggerate and really make sure we're bringing that into the full stroke, okay? It was 2 minutes and then 30 seconds, 2 minutes and then 30 seconds. We're going to double that up. Back onto the full stroke, please. Bringing in that vertical, or if your cords are vertical, obviously, your forearm is, we're aiming to position that horizontally as early as possible. Good work, everyone, good work. Okay, are we still okay? Do we need to take a step forwards, take a step back? How are the arms feeling? 1 minute to go, 1 minute to go. Okay, without confusing too much, if we are going to turn the head to the side to breathe, remember as the hand sort of passes under the eyes, roll into that side position. That should mean that the head gets back into its neutral position nice and early, and not really be a part of the arm recovering, which can throw you around, throw you off balance. And if you can perform that to either side, that's only going to help you in training. You've heard me drone on enough, I'm sure, about trying to train bilateral, but race, depending on the intensity, you'll probably want to be single-sided to get as much air coming in as possible. Okay, last 10 seconds, everyone, last 10 seconds. There's always a pattern, So the first big block of front crawl was 4 minutes. We've just done 2 lots of 2 minutes. And then that third block will be slightly different again. So come into your thumb catch drill, please, okay? Thumbs together, nice and slow, keep the thumbs together. Remember, it was this movement, thumbs together, elbows pop out, double arm. Use the thumbs connecting to help your symmetry to bring that in to play, okay? And the fingers point up, but then they actually come to touch, and it's sort of from head on, makes a nice diamond is what we're looking for. In 3, 2, 1, good, back on the chords. Excellent work, everyone, excellent work. Just a minute now, just 1 minute segments of full stroke front crawl. If we can take a step back, a little bit more effort if we can. We've just got 1 minute. And in between each block of 1 minute, we've got some wax on, wax off. We've got those circular movements with the hands, light dumbbells if you've got them. If not, it's okay. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And this is a great prehab, rehab exercise. Keep the shoulder blades strong. In 10 seconds, we're going to jump out of this. In 10 seconds, we're jumping out, okay? I'm just going to show you while you sort of think about in 3, 2, 1. Remember, it's that waving. Do you remember the movie? Wax on, wax off. We're making circles with the hands from the side. Imagine you're in between 2 panes of glass. The hands are above the elbows. Try not to let them fall forwards. If you've got some cords, some bands available, you can do a little bit more, put a bit more tension and have the shoulder blades in a nice position. And make those circles clockwise and anti, and then reverse that in. Okay, squeeze the shoulder blades together, clockwise and anti. So this round, it's 1 minute of front crawl, 40 seconds of wax on, wax off, and that will give us our 5. 3, 2, 1, good stuff. Back on that full stroke, back on the full stroke. Excellent work. Can we take another step backwards? A little bit more tension. If you're not happy to, stay where you are. It's all fine. Good work, everyone. Good work. So try not to let the technique start to fade. Set the early catch. Keep the hands pulling central. Think about your symmetry. The hands should be at 180 to each other. You may not always swim that way actually in the water, but on the cord, it really is the best opportunity. And you've got the symmetry, you've got the movements. It's very healthy. Good work, everyone. In 10 seconds, we're going to jump back to the wax on, wax off for another 40. 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Pick up your bands or your light dumbbells, whatever you're using. Try your best to keep the hands above the elbows, okay, in line with the shoulders, circling outwards, nice small movements, and then inwards, maybe 5 in one direction, 5 in the other, okay? If you can find some bands, it just gives another dimension because you've got a little bit of tension pulling forward, and that will be a nice extra little bit of effort to keep them in position. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, good stuff. Back on the front crawl, long chords, front crawl. Here we go, another minute. Nice general all-round shoulder fatiguing block of work tonight, okay? Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, now there might be a little bit of fatigue creeping in. Try your best. Don't let the triceps fail you at the back of the stroke. Remember, the hips should be rolling. They should be moving out of the way. The hands can pull a lot more central for a lot longer than you might have thought. Imagine you're on top of a black line on the bottom of the pool. You've got the lane to yourself. Just keep those hands on top of the black line all the way through the stroke, all the way through the stroke. In 3, 2, 1, good stuff. And our last block of wax on, wax off. Last block. Maybe make the circles a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good, healthy posture, good alignment. Don't let the hands, don't have anything too heavy in the hands that are causing that to fall forwards, okay? Just nice and light. It's the slow burn that will build up and do the work. It's an amazing array of small muscles through the shoulder, and they need to be looked after. And this sort of movement will be very, very good for them. 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Good stuff, everyone, good stuff. Okay, that's our first 15 minutes done. Shake the arms out, get a drink, have a little breather. We'll go again. We start back at the top with our 4 minutes into our 1 minute of backstroke, okay? Adjust your quads, hopefully everything's still comfortable. I hope everyone's having a good day and not getting too stir crazy. We just took Junior out on his afternoon walk, and it's annoying to see the parks full of people sunbathing, but that's the end of the party political broadcast. Hope you're all doing your bit. Okay, are we good? 4 minutes of full stroke front crawl. Okay, this is where that little bit of endurance comes in. We've got to work at the back of the stroke, even though the triceps are probably saying, let's not do this. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, 4 minutes. Here we go. Okay. Now we've got a little bit more time to think the stroke through fully. Adjust your positioning. Maybe move forwards a little bit, maybe take it back a little bit. Certainly we've got some time now to add in some breathing. And why not try 2 or 3 to one side, a couple of breaths to one side, and then get your switch across to the other side. I find this a very useful pattern in long distance training. Because obviously if you hold your breath for the 1, the 2, the 3 and switch, hold your breath for the 1, the 2, the 3 and switch, it's quite a big impact on the heart and lungs, and it might just send the heart rate up at a time when you don't want it. But if you get the air coming in every second stroke for 2 or 3, and then you just take your quick little dash across to the other side, get your 2 or 3 to the opposite side, you're just getting that air in, a little bit more continuously. But you're still breaking the bad habits. Nothing's taking a hold, nothing's gaining a foothold in terms of, the head and the arms recovering and sweeping across and exposing the forearm, as we often see, okay? So add in the breathing if you want. If you've got enough to think about just balancing on your stairwell, no problem. Keep it safe, keep it aligned nicely right where you are. We're coming up on 1 minute 30 gone, 2:30 to go. Take a step back if you can, take a step forwards if you need to. That's up to you. It's up to you. We're going to go straight into our backstroke. And it is a lovely counter stroke to full stroke front crawl in terms of stretching things out, reversing all that you're doing. If this was one stroke you could learn to add into your training, it would make training so much more interesting. Stop the overuse injuries building up, and just give you a lot more variety and a lot more opportunities to keep the head nice and still. You might have seen some of the amazing footage of the likes of Missy Franklin. I think it was back in London in 2012. She was practicing and she was swimming along with some sort of energy drink balanced on her forehead. It was quite special to see. But that's how important the head still is. And front crawl's the same, obviously, until you need to breathe, until you need to lift aside. So head nice and still. If you haven't quite got the coordination, something we like to do in our swim downs is just a very simple double arm backstroke. Okay, you can put a pull buoy between you, carry on with where you are. We're still only at 245, but put a pull buoy between the thighs and then a double arm backstroke movement will give you the stretch. It will give you the reversal of the full stroke front crawl, but it doesn't need quite the coordination that the full stroke backstroke requires, which is quite tricky when you add in the alternating leg kick, the arms at 180, switching the shoulders from side to side. There's a lot going on, And it is important to look after those shoulders, which is why this Wednesday night we have introduced some of these exercises just to build the strength, stop the overuse injuries. The Dryland booklet includes a lot more movements to keep them healthy, to keep them strengthened and stretched out. Have a look through that. Add them into your weekly routine and your shoulders will thank you. They're very easy to break down, swimming shoulders, and not easy to repair. Okay, last 10 seconds, everyone, before we hit our 1 minute. Before we hit our 1 minute of backstroke, please. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. If you want to see some really impressive dry land swimming. I saw this today on the internet. It's a shame her career's been tainted by drug use. I'm sure she's a lovely lady otherwise, but she got a pretty hostile reception in Rio. Is Yulia Efimova the top breaststroker? But if you search for Yulia with a Y, Efimova, Russian swimmer, breaststroke, it'll come up, I'm sure. And see what she's doing, balancing off of a kitchen counter unit. Someone's holding her feet and literally from her hips onwards, she's leaning over the edge of her kitchen unit and swimming. It's quite spectacular. And I wouldn't recommend it. Certainly do my back in. Okay, last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Remember, we're switching through to full stroke front crawl. We've got 2 minutes, and then we've got the thumbcatch drill. 2 minutes, please, 2 minutes. Take a step back if you can. Take a step forward if you need to. Open the hands. Think about the spacing between the fingers. It's well documented now that you don't want to be clenched and gripping a small hand. You want the relaxed fingers a couple of millimeters open, holding as much water as possible. If you can add that into these movements, again, it's just one more positive, one more extra useful item being carried over into your full stroke. Right, it's always the case. We pull ourselves forwards with the fingertips all the way through to the elbow. It doesn't have to be an aggressive initial movement because all you're doing is setting up the position. Once you're aligned, stretched out in front, and then you turn that position over, it's not until that becomes vertical, obviously horizontal on dry land, vertical in the water, then you apply the pressure, the lats get involved. But to start with, it's quite light at the front because all you're doing is adjusting the shape and pulling the arm in the position. Last 40 seconds, last 40 seconds. Okay. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Don't let it start to fade now. Don't let it start to fade. We're over 20 minutes of effort. It's good swimming so far, everyone. Don't let it fade. Keep pushing through. Reach for the knees. Keep the hands central. Don't let it shorten. If the stroke shortens, problems arise. Then it's difficult to get as much air in. The timing of the breath gets harder as things start to rush and speed up. Keep the stroke long, and you should always have that opportunity to get the breath in. In 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Okay. Light dumbbells, thumbs are together. We're just popping the elbows out, nice and slow, creating that catch position. Thumbs together, fingertips point up, and then the act of popping the elbows out wide could even bring, if you see from head on, here we go, you should even see them bring the fingers together. Okay, bring the fingers together. And that's a nice, if you think of a diamond, obviously when we're doing our full stroke, it's different, okay? But if you just think of that diamond, that's not a bad shape under the water to be pulling yourself forward. So in 3, 2, 1, here we go, back on the full stroke front crawl, please. 2 minutes, everyone, 2 minutes. Keep the hips rotating, keep the upper body rotating. Don't let that streamline disappear. If we start to shorten the stroke, lose our rotation, it's a lot harder to get the elevation, to get the recovery, and whether you're straight arm or whether you're high elbow. What you don't want is the shoulder low, which will keep the elbow low. And that means you're dragging and sweeping, potentially throwing the leg kick out. So keep it narrow, whether you're high elbow or straight arm. That's not a bad way to position your full stroke front crawl, and keep that in mind. Good, everyone. Good, good, good. Last minute to go. 1 minute to go. Full stroke front crawl. Fantastic. If you're breathing, remember just a couple to the side. And then switch it across. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Good work. Experiment, and if you have had trouble sort of getting more air in, as the hand travels under, think about turning into the breath slightly backwards, okay, slightly backwards, and then you get the mouth sort of kept low in that trough that appears and should make the heads remain a lot lower than you might imagine. It's a weird thing. You don't want to lift the head forwards into the breath, because once that waves break around, actually you're keeping the mouth lower. Last 10 seconds. Last 10 seconds, everyone. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Okay, back to the thumb catch. I'm going to use my bands for this one. Okay, so thumbs together, pop the elbow wide, bring the forearm to horizontal. Hopefully by the time you reach the eye line. There we go. Good, good, good. In 3, 2, 1, back on the cords, back on the cords. We've got our 3 by 1 minutes now. 3 by 1 minute, please. And the wax on, wax off drill is the one that breaks this up. Okay, 1 minute into 40 seconds of drill. 1 minute front crawl, 40 seconds of drill. 3 rounds for our 5 minutes. And that is us pretty much done. Okay, can we go backwards a step? It's only a minute of front crawl, it's only a minute. Can we take a step back? Just put a little bit of tension on. Don't shorten the stroke because you've added too much tension, but rather the better technique. That's always going to be the preference. Head nice and still, hands pulling down the center. Bring the shoulder through, try to brush the cheek. Keep it long. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Light dumbbells if you've got them. If not, just your hands. I think most people's shoulders would probably be aching enough. You probably don't even need the dumbbells. But nice big circles outwards for 5. And then inwards for 5. Try to keep the hands over the elbows. Don't let them rock forwards using too much weight, okay? Squeeze the shoulder blades together. I think someone needs their bedtime brought forwards. Aiden's having a little bit of a moan. You all okay now? In 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. Okay, back on the cords, back on the cords. 1 minute, 1 minute. Good work, everyone. Don't let the stroke shorten. We're nearly there. Don't let it disintegrate. Keep the length of the back. Open the hand. Think about the spacing of the fingers. Think about keeping the palm facing the floor if you're standing upright. If you're horizontal with your cords, obviously think about keeping the fingertips pointing down all the way through the stroke, even at the back of the stroke. If you're standing upright, we're keeping the palms facing the floor all the way through, all the way through. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Back onto the cords, back onto the bands or the dumbbells, whatever you've got. Okay, I'll put a little bit of tension through mine from this angle, just adds another dimension to the drill. Big circles out for 5. Still trying to keep the hands over the elbows. Don't have so much tension that you're dropping and bringing them forwards. And inwards for 5. Good, everyone. Last 10 seconds, last 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Tremendous. Back onto the cords. Last minute, last minute. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. Good, everyone. Good, everyone. Keep it honest. Keep it strong till the end. Again, if the stroke's disappearing, take a step forwards. There's no point reinforcing bad habits. That's not going to help much. Okay. Keep the technique there. 25 seconds to go. 25 seconds to go. 15, 15, keep pushing through, keep pushing through, keep the rhythm, keep the stroke count stable, don't speed it up too much and shorten it at the expense of good technique. We're nearly there in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Last block of wax on, wax off, here we go. I've got the dumbbells this time, and it's just a simple outwards for 5. Keep the hands above the elbows and inwards for 5, inwards for 5. Good, everyone, good. Last 20 seconds, last 20 seconds. Slowly, it doesn't have to be a heavy weight, just slowly building the strength. I'm sure your shoulders are burning by now, mine are. I'm just going to have a little simple warm down for a couple of minutes to wrap it up. 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Let's add some rotation in. For those that had their cords on horizontal, the upper body horizontal, it is harder to get that rotation. So just nice and relaxed through the arms, keep the head still, bring the shoulders through, let the hips follow. Get the breathing back under control. Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. Okay, from here, if we just elevate one arm, let's do some single arm. Remember our catch, remember our rotation, keep the head nice and still. If you want to practice your breathing timing, turn it to the side as you finish moving the arm. Okay, let's go 5 or 6 to both sides. We've got the rotation in. As you set your catch, that's a strong anchor. That should pull the shoulder through. The hips are switching from side to side. Don't stay flat. And swap arms, please, swap arms. Stay nice and narrow, keep the hand pulling central. Make that connection, set the catch position just like we were doing in the drill, and from there should be strong enough to help pull the shoulder through under the chin. Wonderful stuff. 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. Good, and then that last exercise, if you're not familiar with this one, it is in the dry land booklet that goes out. It is very effective with a light dumbbell. Draw the sword, I'm going to move across, I'm a bit narrow here in the stairwell. Draw that sword, take it through to the base of the neck, bring the shoulder through. Again, it's absolute, the full stroke front crawl body position. And with the addition of that light weight, you don't have to use the weight, but it will take that shoulder through its full range of motion under a little bit of stress. But we're just reinforcing our rotation, learning to keep the head still. 3, 2, 1. Swap sides, please. Swap sides. I'm going to be very careful and deliberate here because there's a big clock behind me, and I know one of these days it is coming down and I will not be popular. Okay, good work, good work. So keep the head still. Start with the chin still, shoulder under, hand in the pocket, and then as that shoulder sweeps behind you, it takes the weight behind the base of the neck, and you're strengthening as you slow the journey of the weight before it knocks you in the back of the head. Fantastic. Good work, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. If you can join me for Friday, just ping me an email to remind me to send the invites out to you all.